this is Jamie Magrich. Welcome to Jamie's Craft Table. Today I'm going to show you how I made this card. Let's get started. Let's put these aside for a minute. I'm using wrapped bouquet. I'm not using the dies that come with it. Well, yes I am. I take that back. I'm using this little tiny, what do you call it? Tag. This one. I'm using this stamp and then the little for you. I'm using this die from Ornate Layers, but if you notice it's shorter, so I'm going to show you how I did that. I have a black and white gingham bow, which is from my stash. I believe it's just a ribbon that I got at one of the big box stores. I'm also going to be using some of my black gems that are from my stash. I have a piece of white cardstock, and this is about 2 3/4 by 5 1/2. It just needs to be big enough to stamp this stamp on. I have a scrap of black, and this is 3/8 of an inch by 5 1/2. I have a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of Pool Party, a 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 inch piece of black, and then I have my card base, which is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 scored and folded at 4 1/4. Press this. I don't know if you can see it. Let me put the black behind it. You see how that's a little bit fuzzy there? I don't know if you can see it. But anyway, I just take the emery board, and that gets rid of any of that fuzzies. That could be from having a dull blade. This instance, I think my paper came that way. Oh, it's all on this side. Usually doesn't take that much, but for some reason this one's a little bit. There we go. Okay, so that's better. Now I got all this stuff all over my desk though. All the little fuzz from it. Okay, let's put all this aside. Let's start by doing the background. Okay, so I'm going to take my Pool Party. I'm going to bring in a scratch paper. Find one here. I'm going to bring in this stamp. It looks like newsprint and gray granite ink. I'm going to ink this up, and I'm going to stamp all over this background. So I'm going to start over here. You can't really make out what it says, so then I'm just going to kind of line up, you know, just scatter around. I'm not filling in the whole background. I just want to give it a little bit of something. Okay. Can you see that? Alright, we'll put that aside. We're done with the gray ink. Now we're going to bring in this piece, and I can get rid of this so you can actually see what I'm doing. We're going to use the memento, and for this one I'm going to put the stamp down and pick up the ink because the stamp is bigger than my ink pad. just makes it easier for me to not get lines and to get a really good inked coverage. Okay. Actually turn it this way because it's easier for me to hold it this way. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp that right in the center. Just hold it down for a few minutes so that ink transfers well. Straight up. Perfect. Oh, that's a beautiful image. It's even better than the one I had before. Okay. Give that a second to dry. Alright, now I'm going to take this, and as it's longer than it needs to be, I'm going to start it down here, where I want it at the top of my flowers. I'm going to bring in my die cutting machine, so you can actually see, hopefully. And I haven't got the new one. I just purchased this one when they discontinued it, so there we go. Run that through. Okay, now, in order to get this so that it has the dots on the bottom, I'm going to line this. First I'm just going to give it a good little smack, and that most of those little dots pop out. Okay, so then I want to line this bottom up with where I want it, and all those little dots are going to line up in the holes that are already there. You can feel it just kind of pops in. Alright, put this on, and I'm not going to run it through the whole way, I'm just going to go far enough to get this bottom half. You can feel it click in, click over it, and then I'm going to go back out. Okay, there you go. See how it made that all the way around it? Alright. This side. Okay, let's bring in all the pieces. Yeah, I think that's too bright without this. I need this board here. That might be why I'm having lighting issues. So maybe I need to make sure I have this. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in my black layer, and I'm going to mount it to the front of my card. I'm going to use wet glue. Well, maybe I'm not. I'm bad about not remembering to close the lids. That's why I have trouble with it gumming up. So if you close the lids, you don't usually get it gummed up. There we go. Now this piece, I'm going to glue this strip right in that rule of thirds there. I'm going to divide this into threes, and I'm going to put that right down that line where the rule, where that 1/3 line would be. And make it straight, easier to make it straight. I'm going to line this up on my grid paper, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. there, there, so that it's straight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Still didn't get it straight. There we go. That's better. Okay, then I need to bring in my snips. Trim off that extra. There isn't much on this side, but I'm going to trim that little bit off. Alright, and we're going to put dimensionals on the back of this. And we're going to mount this to the front of our card. This is a really simple card. If I didn't do the die cut, if you just used a rectangle, it could be considered a simple stamping card. And I think that little scalloped edge around the edge just added something nice to it. Okay. Now I'm going to bring in this piece. I put dimensionals on the back of that. I think I'm just going to use these edges. Okay, take those backs off. I forgot to turn my phone off. Okay, then I'm going to center this up over here on this side. This one's a little bit longer than the other one. It's alright. Could have gone even closer here to the top. Alright, bring that glue dot. I'll put a glue dot on the back of my ribbon. Add that right here. So it looks like it's wrapping around that paper and holding that shut. Gems. Ah, they're falling out. Well, I'll use that one that fell out then. And then I've got some little ones here. I already... Where did I put them? There they are. Going all over the place there. Where'd they go? Well, I'll show you what I did since I lost them already. I've got these strips of them like this, and I'm just gonna cut a little strip of it and cut out a couple of them. It's easier if you can cut the whole row and then pick them off that way. Try to get them off that backing and not lose the glue. That's the trickiest part. Okay, so one's going to go over here. That one, the glue came off of. Alright, I'm going to take them all off of there, and I'm just going to pick them apart like that. That's the easiest way for me. But then I lose them. And this one's going to need a dot of glue. Oh, there's one added there. So okay, that's one of them. Wants to be on there, I guess. So I'm just going to put a dot of glue here. And add this bigger one. There we go, there's my card. The one we made together. Again, this one's a little bit longer. I could have come a little bit closer. Here's the one I did previously. Oh, I forgot my tag. Now, out of that scrap, out of the little bit of scrap that would be left over, like I think for this one, I cut the whole thing out, and then I cut the edge off. And then I stamped the 4U in it and die cut it out with that little tiny tag. And I just tied a little bit of twine in it. So that's going to just go on there for a little bit of decoration. And since I already have it 2 layers up, I think I'm just going to glue dot it down. Add that up here so it looks like it's tied into the flowers. There you go. There's a card we just made together. Here's the one I did previously with a little bit shorter of a box. Thank you for joining me at Jamie's Craft Table today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope you can find a little bit of time to play with some stamps, ink, and paper.